Southern Africa by Thomas, Jasmine, and Travis. Nations and major capitals. Within Southern Africa, the way their government functions is within 3 different branches, which leaves them with having a capital for each one. This being a little different from any other countries. It leaves 3 major capitals just within this region alone. The government is divided between legislative, executive, and judicial. Starting off with the executive capital, which is Pretoria. You can see here on the map, it is right here. Located at the home to the South African branch government, and also the president of the cabinet as well. Legislative is next, which the capital is Cape Town, which is located right here. This includes being one of the oldest cities while also the seat of the parliament. And the judicial is the last one for today. And the capital is Bloemfontein, which is right here. It is considered a free state with providence. Major landforms, rivers, and lakes, and climate. As far as land area within the Southern Africa, it covers around 1.2 million square miles, with having 2 major landforms known as the plateaus and the coastal plains. A major river in Southern Africa, which is also known as the longest river, is called the Orange River, which you can see it's right here, flowing at just around 1,300 miles, and it being an important role in the whole economy itself. It helps provide water for irrigation, generate power, and even hydraulic power. The name stems from a Dutch ruling family. Next we have Lake Sibia, which is a major lake that runs about 24.71 miles. You can see here on the image, it's right here. And on the smaller image, it's going to be right here. This is being used for housing hippos, crocodiles, and as well as used for breeding and feeding, etc. While also being an important area for bird life. It sums around 279, let alone bird species that have been so far recorded within this area alone. A mixture of the weather and climate would be subtropical and temperature climate, which it usually stands on based on the water flow that brings in the cooler climate. However, it has sunny days and cooler nights. Major resources bases. Southern Africa is known for holding the largest resources, mainly coming anywhere from between land, water, oil, natural gases, minerals, forest, and even wildlife. Percentage-wise, you can see that it's 30% minerals, 8% natural gas, 12% oil reserves, around 40% gold, and up to 90% chrome and platinum, 65% arable land, and 10% water. That's just like a little sum up of what it consumes of like the major resources base. These resources are able to contribute in more ways than one, allowing help to build environments as well as building different builds and structures all across Southern Africa. Most of these resources at times are good to use for trading around to get supplies to continue to build a stronger economy. As you can see here in the images, there are just certain things that are known in the Southern Africa, but I just try to list the main ones. These are a little bit more of an in-depth of what is actually like a resource. That right there is chrome, and so on and so forth. Okay, the population size of the region alone. And the easier way of being able to understand the population region is through seeing it through this graph. So I can see here it starts from 1955, which it is starting at just above 16 million around there. And from 2023, as of October, there's a population size of 69 million around there. You can just see from how it was in 1955 and how big of an increase that we have seen in Southern Africa. By 2050, it is estimated that their population will increase by 0.53%, which leaves them around 85 million people. Throughout the years, it fluctuates and the percentage either goes increasing or decreasing just because of how much changes within this region.
The approximate whereabouts of the southern African region are in the southern and eastern hemispheres. They lie approximately between 15 degrees south and 45 degrees south and 0 degrees to 45 degrees east. In the southern Africa region, there are a total of 38 spoken languages. 12 of them are official languages, and 26 of them are recognized languages spoken all throughout the area. The top languages in the area are Zulu at 23%, Nkosi at 16%, Afrikaans at 14%, and English at 9.6%. Now, Afrikaans is spoken mostly in South Africa. The major religions in the area are Christianity at 68%, which is due to the major European influence flooded into South Africa. Muslim is 2%, Hindu is 1.5%, and the remaining 28.5% are followers of the indigenous beliefs, which are the local tribes and customs of the area. Most populated nations of the region and corresponding population sizes and major cities. The most populated nation by far is South Africa, with a total population of 60,414,495 people. And the major cities in South Africa are Johannesburg at 5,635,127 people, Cape Town 4,710,000 people, and Durban, which is 3,120,282 people. This here is a picture of the Johannesburg skyline. In part 2 of this section, you can see that the rest of the nations are significantly smaller in size, with Botswana at 2,675,352 people. And their major cities are Gaborone at 208,411, Francistown with 89,979, and Molopololi with 63,248 people. Namibia with 2,604,172 people, with Windhoek with 268,132 people, Rundu with 58,172 people, and Walvis Bay at 52,058 people. Next is Lesotho with 2,330,318 people, with Maseru with 118,355 people, Mohales Hoek at 40,040 people, and Mafeteng at 39,754 people, which is their most populated cities. And Swaziland, which is significantly the smallest country in this area, with Manzini at 110,537 people, Mbambane at 76,218 people, and Big Bend with 10,342 people. Political structures, organizations, and issues. Now, their political structure is different than ours, with South Africa having a semi-presidential unitary republic where they still have a president. Botswana has a parliamentary unitarian republic with a president. Now, Namibia has a presidential unitary republic where they have a president and a prime minister. Lesotho is a parliamentary unitarian constitutional monarchy, which is kind of like what England had, where they have a king and a prime minister. And Swaziland has a unitary absolute monarchy where they only have a king. for the third part of this section, the southern area of Africa has a number of issues ranging from commodity prices, food shortages, civil unrest, electricity crises, and natural disasters, all which can put strain on the area. Now, this here are some of the organizations in Southern Africa. So you have the Southern African Development Community, which is an intergovernment organization headquartered in Gaborone, Botswana. Regional Economic Communities, which is an African group, and together the individual countries and subregions are achieving greater economic integration to create building blocks in the African Union. And then this third one is Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, which is a regional economic community in Africa with 21 member states, stretching from Tunisia to Swaziland, and it started in 1994.
Major civilizations and histories in the region. Khoisan civilization. The Khoisan group includes the earliest inhabitants in South Africa, dating back to around 100,000 years ago. These hunter-gatherers are believed to be the first humans to migrate out of Africa. Bantu civilization. Beginning around 300 AD, Bantu-speaking tribes migrated from Western and Central Africa, bringing with them iron-smelting technology and a pastoral lifestyle. These tribes established numerous kingdoms and empires like the Great Zimbabwe and Mutapa. Zulu Kingdom. In the 19th century, the Zulu Kingdom emerged as a powerful nation under the leadership of King Shaka Zulu. The Zulu were known for their military tactics and organization, which allowed them to gain control over many surrounding tribes. Dutch colonization. The Dutch arrived in 1652 and became the first Europeans to establish a colony, the Cape of Good Hope. This marked the beginning of the colonial era in South Africa, during which the indigenous people were subjected to land appropriation, forced labor, and discrimination. Apartheid era. In 1948, the National Party came to power and implemented the policy of apartheid, legalizing racial segregation and discrimination against the majority Black African inhabitants. Post-apartheid era. After decades of anti-apartheid activism, the international pressure of African National Congress, led by Nelson Mandela, dismantled the apartheid. In 1994, South Africa held its first multiracial election, marking the beginning of a new era of democratic governance. Manufacturing being its main drivers. It's largely considered an upper-middle income economy with abundant natural resources, a well-developed infrastructure, and a financially strong private sector. Despite this, major development issues persist. Income inequality is particularly prevalent. Unemployment among the youth exceeds 30% as well. Other key issues include corruption, inadequate service delivery, and slow economic growth. Furthermore, the education system struggles to meet the needs of the workforce. Cultures. Zulu culture. Zulu is the largest ethnic group in South Africa. They're known for their intricate beadwork, beautifully woven baskets, and pottery. One notable Zulu custom is the reed dance, which is performed by young girls dancing to promote chastity before marriage. Xhosa culture. This group shares many customs with the Zulu. They are also known for their beadwork, wedding traditions, and initiation rites for young boys. Folklore in Xhosa culture consists of animals playing a huge role, and they believe in ancestral spirits. Sotho-Tswana people. The Sotho-Tswana people are primarily located in the Free State and Northwest. Their culture is reflected in pottery making, hut decoration, and rituals, and their folklore relies on animals to convey messages of morals. Cape Malay culture. Descendants of Japanese and Indonesian prisoners of the Dutch, they have a rich tradition in cuisine, fashion, and architecture. As a multicultural and multiracial region, South Africa's society is complex and stratified. English is the main spoken language, but 11 are officially recognized, reflecting the diverse ethnic groups, including Zulu, Xhosa, Swana, Afrikaans, and others. Racist policies from the past, like the apartheid system, continue to impact its social structure. Despite advancements since the apartheid's end in 1995, inequality remains a serious issue, with socioeconomic divides between racial and ethnic groups and between urban and rural communities. A key social issue in South Africa is poverty, linked closely with unemployment. Crime, including violent crime, is another major concern alongside persistingly high levels of gender-based violence. This country also has one of the world's largest HIV and AIDS epidemics. Additionally, there are ongoing challenges in education, with inequalities in access to quality of education. Other significant social problems include substance abuse and inadequate access to mental health services.
This is my Works Cited page where I got all my information from.